Yeah.
Because they don't have inside pockets like the actual robes do.
Yeah, no. I mean, the actual robes has something to put into.
It's like an inside pocket on both sides, and they have like a deep inside pocket.
Yeah. That's true.
They have pockets on the outside, which is quite funny.
It is funny.
Oh wait, do you know the DCs? Do you know the DC Hunter?
Not really. What is it? What's a DC?
Yeah, DC Rip Hunter.
Oh, I never heard of it before, to be honest.
Hello everyone, how are we doing? We're very excited. So we do ask that there is no videotaping. You may take photos, but there's no videotaping. Also, please don't ask for any selfies or hugs. If you do have a question, please start lining up at the microphone. Very good. And if you can give a big warm welcome and round of applause for Bonnie Wright.
I'm Lawrence, by the way. I'm Lawrence, by the way.
Yeah.
You're Richard?
Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
It's alright.
No, we have plenty of seconds, so go ahead.
Did you actually have a crush on David/Harry Potter during your time?
No. If I did, that would have been pretty awkward. No, it's funny. You spend a lot of time. We all spent a lot of time together. So I'm sure if I ever did, it would quickly fade as you get to know people. But it's strange being friends on set with someone for so long, and then suddenly you read that part of the book and you know that you're going to have to film. Film is very, very strange. A set is a very mechanical environment. So to film romantic scenes is always quite a strange experience and not quite like the real thing. But it was fun. I can't complain. I reckon a lot of people wanted to kiss Harry. So yeah. Thank you for your question. Thank you. Thanks.
Yay. Oh dear. I gotta hold on so good. Hi. I'm a bit shy since I don't know that you're one of those Hogwarts ladies that were. So how was like your first time being part of the Harry Potter series as far since you're not even expecting how well it did with the J.K. Rowling's success of the books and stuff.
Yeah, I think for all of us, we didn't really know the magnitude of the series and how it would grow. A lot of us at the beginning of the film were very new to acting. Most of us had never really acted before, so my first day on set that was on platform 93 quarters was, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't really know why light was set up, how it was, what action meant, what sort of like redoing a scene meant. And so I very much learned everything I know about film making and acting on the set. And for all of us, I think, we just never knew that it would grow to the scale in which it did. And also all of us didn't really know the fate of our characters, because obviously all the time they were being written as we were making the movies. So, the kind of mystery to the experience was all part of it, really. Not knowing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you were actually going to Hogwarts as the first year and you were yourself, Bonnie, which house do you think the Sorting Hat would have put you in?
Oh, well, I actually did the Pottermore test. You get and I actually am, as Bonnie, a Gryffindor. So obviously, but I don't know. Maybe like clever test the way it's done. Like it's I know a lot of people do it many, many times and still keep getting the house if they don't like the house they got. So I think it's a pretty good, ingenious personality test. But I haven't done my Patronus, so I think I need to find mine. I think I'm too afraid to get an animal I don't feel like I associate myself with. But yeah, I see you're a Ravenclaw. Did you do the Pottermore test, or did you do that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you.
What was it like when you got the information that you'll be a part of the Harry Potter cast?
Oh, do you know, I rolled down the window in the car and I screamed really, really loud. I was with my family in the car, and my brother and I were like in the back seat, and my parents kept like whispering, and we're like, what's going on? Or they're definitely like, something's up. They're like hiding something, or something's happening. And then they, looked around and told my brother and I, we both, in fact, rolled the windows down and screamed out. Luckily, we were on a busy and loud freeway, but it was pretty, I guess I never ever thought that I would get the role. I'd never obviously acted before, and I was very much just went up to audition for a sort of fun and taking part, and why not to try. So I was really surprised when I did get the role.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, hi, I'm a big fan. You mentioned earlier that you kind of never really knew the fate of your characters. What was it like kind of finding out that Fred was going to die and having to realize that someone you worked with for so long, their character ended up getting killed off?
It was sad, it was very sad. I think so many characters died in the big battle of Hogwarts at the end, and during that time when we were shooting all those scenes, it obviously also came to the end of like the whole series. Yeah. So there was already very much a vibe in the air of sort of sadness and it coming to an end and a closure. And it felt almost like every single day there was a different character that we all loved that was going to have their death scene, and it was quite intense. You could feel that very intense energy on set and a sort of somberness to it, but also kind of a weird sort of exhilaration towards it, because there was so many people, so many characters came back for the Battle of Hogwarts, so it felt like a real coming together, like it felt like a real like final showdown in the film. It's not fun, Technically, your brother dies. Yeah, I could not enjoy what to do. But luckily, they're both still around in my imagination. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. What was the funniest moment that happened off set with you and the cast?
Oh, that's difficult. If you imagine very hysterical teenage children, you can probably imagine how many times we were told to stop laughing. A lot of them happened in the Weasley household, in the Burrows. I think you get us together in a house, and James and Oliver were very much lived up to their roles, and Rupert has this thing where he just like, for no reason, can't really stop laughing, and he'll try and like hide behind you when the camera's rolling, and you're like, they can definitely see you're hiding behind me. So that would often be a reason for retaking the scene over and over again. But then, kind of on the flip side of that, is at the end of the day, we were making a movie that hundreds of people were stood on set, doing their job, and we had to do ours too. So I think that sort of professionalism that had to also be adopted was quite serious on the films, because it wasn't just like our job. Like, the actors are not the only part of, obviously, film being made, and all these other people who had put their time and day into it wouldn't probably love if there were too many pranks and jokes. So I think we all quickly learned also, as well as it being pretty funny and fun, an interesting, it was a cool lesson in just like work ethic and having like a drive towards that, because a lot of people that we made the movies with were all really, really amazing at their jobs. So it was quite cool to learn that at a young age, I think, and to be around adults as well as people of your own age. But I would say the Weasley household was the most kind of humorous and electric scenes, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if a Cursed Child movie was ever made, I'm wondering if you would be open to reprising your role.
Well, I say never to anything, because you know. And it would be fun for sure. I think from my personal experience of watching that play it was incredible to watch it stage. I think all the stage magic and the production level was so amazing. But I'm so in love with Jo's writing and her dialogue. To me, it felt like not quite the same, because obviously it isn't her it's not her penmanship. So, but it was amazing to see people. I quite enjoy seeing other people take it on. Like, it was a nice to be an audience member when you've so always been the other side was quite fun. But who knows? We'll see. But I feel like it should stay as a play for the rest of it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
What made you decide to be a director?
Pardon?
A director?
What?
To film movies and such, or short films?
What? Sorry. What was the question?
Like, what made...
What made me decide?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. A combination of many things. I think I've always been like such an observer. Like, I think through the process of making the Harry Potter films, I was always watching in every part of the room what was going on and why certain things would be made the way they were, or how the process of filmmaking kind of happens. And I was really lucky that a lot of people really were patient with me if I asked them questions, which I did very often. And so that curiosity then I think led me to really understanding all the different departments, and then sort of at the end of sort of my last few years at school, all my projects were very film orientated, so any artwork kind of things were always, the medium I used was always film to tell that story. And then when I went to college, I went to film school, and that I loved, and since then I've been doing it. I guess I love to be part of the whole process. I love to be there at the beginning of the idea, the conception of the idea, the development, to sort of building your team and collaborating with people, and all the way through to the edit. And I don't know, maybe I'm like a control freak and I need to be part of every bit. But yeah, I don't know. I think you get a little. I personally found I get a bit more ownership over the story, and I get to sort of tell my own stories, which is really exciting.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm a really big fan, and I wondered if you could play any other Harry Potter character, who would you want to play?
I think Ginny is so good that it would be fun to play someone evil. Even though I don't think anyone could ever attempt to step into the foot of Bellatrix the way that Helen Bonham Carter did, which is just so good. I think she has a great role. She would be fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you think your movie was most different from the book?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I think all of them are quite different from the books. I think everyone agrees there's many scenes that unfortunately got missed out. I don't know. Do you have one that you think is most different? No, I don't know. I feel like I'm sure someone has pulled apart every scene to scene and figured that out. Let's say on it. I don't know. I don't know which one's most similar to the other. Does anyone have an idea? Five. Oh, yeah. Five is my favorite book. So obviously it's one of my favorite films, so I just translate. Well, I'm going to go 5. Thank you for your question. Thank you.
If you could change anything about the way your character, Ginny Weasley, was portrayed in the movies versus the books, what would you change?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I guess for all of us, every actor would say the same thing. There were so many scenes in the books that they wish they'd been able to perform and to sort of give some more depth to their character. I think for me and Ginny, I would have loved definitely more Quidditch to come through, and definitely a lot more of her sort of very strong kind of warrior type kind of character that she has. That kind of not only just the tomboyishness to her, but just this kind of like fierce, strong character that she becomes, and sort of what Harry sees in her, and therefore like falls in love with. I think more of that would have enabled their sort of love story to feel and have more kind of depth to it. I think would have been cool. Loads of things. If only we could have like 5 hours. Had that all in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What was What was your favorite movie?
Which is my favorite movie? Oh, that's tough. Even though I was pretty much like dead on the floor for most of it, I really like The Chamber of Secrets.
Do you think Snape was good or bad?
I think it was good. Thank you.
Hi Bonnie, thanks for being here. So during your time in the Harry Potter series, you got to work with some of the true greats of English TV and cinema, Rickman, Emma Thompson, Michael Gambon. Who was your favourite? Might be difficult to pick, but what are some good lessons that you learned from working with those people?
Sure, yeah. I think it's always one of those things that upon reflection have been even more so, like upon finishing the films, I think when you're so young, sometimes you kind of, you don't necessarily know, or you treat every other like they're no different. But I think without knowing it, all of us had these incredible lessons of, again, just like the observation. I think you can learn so much and realize how many different ways or how many different kind of types of acting there is. And I think what I really respected about the way in which they sort of performed with us is they never treated us kind of any differently. There's kind of that level playing field of knowing that like we need one another in order for the scene to be the greatest it can be. We each need each other because we are reacting upon one another. So that I really realized that I was so lucky that they just like let us in and they allowed us to be part of the scene. I think personally, for me, I spent so much time with Judy Walters because she's my mum. And she really took me under my wing from like the first day of filming when I didn't know what was going on, and she really just like showed me things, but like let me find things in a way that, steps into your confidence. And so I really love working with her. So many people. I loved Michael Gambon, Alan Rickman. I loved working with David Thewlis and Gary Oldman. We were spoiled, really. It was so good. But yeah, I learned so much from just like staring at them, basically. Yeah, great. Thank you. Question.
What did it feel like when you were flying on the brooms at one of the movies?
It was pretty cool, although it looked way better when it was in the films. And we were doing it in real life, it was just like, this looks, I'm looking at it. You'd like have to be looking like move across the room, and then you'd like grab a ball and throw it at the floor, because we weren't really actually throwing it to anyone. So it looked really unathletic and a bit pathetic, but when they put it together with all the visual effects, I looked great. But you'd be surprised, actually sat on a broomstick isn't the most comfortable experience.
Yeah, I feel like I've sat on a broom before and just
No, it's not right. I know, that's what I felt. Yeah, I remember I had one scene where I had to be spun like 360 degrees around. That was like, it was fun, the idea of it was fun, but then the reality, like 20 takes later. But I like the costume, the Quidditch costume, it's one of my favorites. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for being here. Do you have something from the magical world of Harry Potter that you would take with you besides a wand? Like, what's one object that you would have from the entire universe?
I would like a porky.
A porky?
Yeah.
Where to? Or just to be able to?
Multiple porkies. Plural there. But porkies, please. I don't know, it'd be pretty cool. I feel like just to be in Clifton somewhere. If I like miss my family, I can see them and friends. That'd be quite cool. Can travel. Or the invisibility globe would be pretty cool. I mean, yeah. We'd all get up to our own mischief with that. But I would say porky. Just because travel, like, I love being all around the world, but it'd be a pretty cool, probably more sustainable way to travel, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you had to choose one of the characters, who would be your favorite?
I think Dumbledore.
Hi. I would like to know, what do you love most about being an actor/director?
I guess I love collaborating with people. Like, I really love working towards a vision with other people, and how everything that people bring to it makes the story so layered and rich and sort of, and it represents like a whole theme or a whole story. Like, I really just love listening to other people's, like, we all look at the world in our own way. It's not everyone's is so particular to them, and to bring that together into one story, I think is always a really interesting process to be part of. So yeah, just that collaboration, storytelling, I think.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks.
Had you read any of the books before auditioning?
Yeah, I had read the first book. I was only 9, so my older brother had read the first few books, and he was the one who suggested that I should go for the role, because I guess Ginny's the kind of younger sister, and he suggested that, and he had read the first 2, I think, or 3, and then when I knew I got the audition, I probably read it the fastest I'd ever read a book at that age. And then I, like everyone, was at the bookshop the day the books came out and was avidly reading them. Yeah. Thanks.
Hello. Hi. Hey, did you take anything home from set, perhaps as a keepsake? No. Unofficially? I won't tell.
No, we couldn't. Otherwise, you guys couldn't, go and see them all in the tours and the theme parks. No, everything was heavily archived. I mean, everything that was made on those films was like a serious piece of craft work. So I didn't want to steal that from anyone. I was maybe too good. Gotcha. Thank you. Thanks.
Hi. What was your favorite scene to film?
I remember being so excited for the Yule Ball. I think because in English schools we don't have proms or anything, that's not a thing. And wearing it, I mean, my dress was awful, but it was pretty exciting to wear something out of the Gryffindor robes. And we were all just so excited. The Great Hall was transformed. We had a band that Jarvis Cocker came to be the head, the lead singer in, which was so cool. And we all fully, it was I think at an age, that prime age where you're beginning to think that you're sort of really old and cool, and it felt like it was just the perfect moment to have this kind of social scene. I think it came at quite a turning point for all of us. So yeah, I like the Yule Ball.
Thank you.
What was the most saddest scene that you had to shoot in all of the movies?
I think Dumbledore's death was really sad. It was pretty, when we all, he fall into the base of the tower and everyone was gathering around, and then we have this really special moment where everyone lifts their wands up to the sky in that big Lumos moment. that was really, really special. And it was all shot at night, outside, and the energy felt really intense. That was pretty sad.
Thank you.
Thanks.
On a different note, what was your favorite costume that you wore in the movies?
You know what? Weasley family didn't have. I mean, they were cool for sure, but they were like very knitted and like itchy, and Molly Weasley didn't choose the best fabrics, I don't think. So on that front, the one that wasn't chosen but designed in any shape or form Weasley-ish was to the wedding when Ginny's the bridesmaid to Fleur and Bill's wedding. Yeah, that was cool. It was like the most stylish. It was black. I don't think I'd ever worn black in the film. It wasn't a robe. That was a nice outfit. I like that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any fan theories that you've read that you've either been really intrigued by or believe?
I have to admit, I haven't read many fan theories. No, I mean, I think it's fascinating when people like do these like, I mean, I guess something like The Cursed Child in a way, like obviously that's like the biggest version of someone's like own story that they've taken from Harry Potter, but I feel like there's like a billion different variations of everyone's interpretations of it, but I haven't really ever got behind reading any of them. I don't know, yeah. I also love, I don't know, I feel like even there's like all these crazy wild like bands that have come out of it, or like animations, things like YouTube, and I feel like there's just like endless things. Just cool.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Bonnie. So I know you must have spent a lot of time with the cast growing up on set. Do you guys still keep in touch today? Do you guys have a group text or something?
Yeah, we still see each other. When we're in the same city at the same time, which as you can imagine is pretty rare, because everyone's all over the place. But yeah, we do. I mean, I saw James Nolliver recently, and I'm seeing Matt soon, and yeah, we all see each other, which is pretty nice. It's kind of one of those, it was such a strange experience to sort of explain to anyone, like friends and different things. And so when you get together with these people that you spend 10 years with in this very bizarre experience, it's a kind of very leveling, like nice thing to sort of like talk about what it's been like for each of us, you know, having finished the films. I feel like for all of us, so much like reflection upon like the series happened after the films inevitably, and like how big they were in our own personal lives and for other people. So it's nice to know that, or it's nice to have that kind of, you know, that kind of constant like reflection together and sort of.
Yeah, nice to have a group of people to do that with.
Yeah, it's like when you, I don't know, you meet up with like people that you went to school with or college with, you had this like bonding experience that like you had together at that one time. And it's really nice to, when I do see them, to have that.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Bonnie, which couple members, maybe of the cast, do you think might make a really great future Doctor Who?
We had a Doctor Who in our cast. David Tennant was in I mean, I want to say Rupert, but imagine him doing any. I don't know how much things would get solved if he was. I would quite enjoy that Doctor Who. Yeah, Rupert played Ron. He would be pretty good. Just throw like, you know, spatter in there. Who else? Who else would be a good Doctor Who? Maybe Matt Lewis would also be good. Or maybe like Gary Oldman, but then he's maybe someone younger to be Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Rupert because that everyone would like to watch that.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Bonnie. This question might sound a little odd. Since you're directing now, from your perspective as a director, who would you want to pair up in your own Harry Potter fanfic?
Oh no. Who would I want to pair up? Like romantically?
Yes. Or for their own adventure or what have you?
Maybe Luna and I just think she's got like endless fun. She's such a great character.
She's my favorite character of the whole series. She's no offense, of course.
I clearly love her too. Luna and the adventures of like, although okay, not romantically, but like the adventures of like Luna and Hagrid.
Hi, Bonnie. I suspect you like being an actor. Maybe you like Halloween. And who do you dress up as for Halloween?
It's funny since living. Well, it's changing, but like back where I'm from in London, in the UK, Halloween when I was a kid wasn't really a thing. Apart from watching American movies, people like, come on, let's trick or treat, and people like, no, we don't really do that here. To give you an idea of maybe my sort of like lack of humour, last Halloween I dressed up as an ice cap melting.
No, that's wonderful.
So it was like a real party like starter. Everyone really wanted to chat to me. Parties, really somber, like reality of like climate change. So I was wearing all white with like icy makeup, and I was holding a mason jar of water. That's the kind of tone I kind of like with my costumes. Yeah.
Do I get another one? Do I get another one? Okay. Maybe a lighter question, like, what's your favorite magical creature in the whole Harry Potter world?
I love Dobby. Dobby, and I also used to think centaurs look really cool. I don't know why, but they were cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was wondering if you've been to one of the two Wizarding Worlds? Or I don't know if there's one or two.
I've been to both.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
And how was your experience?
I mean, I love rides. I love a ride. A lot of friends always want to go, so I'm like, oh, if we must, we better go. I don't know, they're great. I like it. There's like weirdly more of a world than the sets were, because obviously in a film set you turn a corner and it's like scaffolding and it's the edge of a set, and that reality is like instantly broken. Whereas in the theme park, you're like fully in the world. Like you can pick the stuff up. You can pick up part of beer and drink it. We didn't get part of beer. So all those things were super exciting. When we all went together when it first opened, I think we were still filming, but all of us went like all of the cars, and it felt like we were on our own, like being vacation at Hogwarts. But it was a way realer than we had ever had on the sets. So we were pretty excited. It's pretty cool.
And then, have you also been to the studio tour in London?
Well, I have been, but remember, I was there for 10 years. It's not very exciting. It is exciting, but like, I spent 10 years at Legion Studios, and now it's like, it's interesting, because obviously, they put it together in a way that's like designed to have a flow through, like a museum does, which it wasn't like when we filmed. It was like a chaotic kind of thing. But I love how they've integrated all the sort of behind-the-scenes stuff, in the sense that you can see, a draftsman drawing of a set, or like, different work that goes into prosthetics, or hair and makeup, or all those things. And I really love that they've made that a really strong element to the film, because that's the stuff that I love and geek out on. So I think that's really cool that people can understand that process. But yeah, I haven't been there for a while, because but maybe it's pretty cool that there was there to go back to them.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
What was your most hated scene when you were filming?
The last one. sad to film the last scene of the film.
I haven't seen the last half of the scene.
No, we don't even need to know what the scene is. I just mean like filming the last scene was the worst because it meant it was the last scene, if you know what I mean. Yeah? But what in terms of nothing, I didn't really like not enjoy anything because of the scene itself. Everything I love to do. I think it was more just, it was sad for it to come to an end. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I was wondering what your opinions are on the new Harry Potter movies or the Wizarding World movies?
The Fantastic Beasts films. I love them. I really like them. I love all the creatures in them. I think they're sweet. I love. It's been really fun watching them as an audience member because a lot of the same creative people, obviously, that are involved in them, such as like Stuart Craig, who designed all the sets, are the you can see their work continued and the style and the world that so aligned so well with her writing. But it's nice to watch a movie and have had nothing to do with it. It's just be an audience member like everyone here, you know, I think, and the mystery and like not knowing where, in terms of the plot, because obviously none of us have read and it don't come from a book, so that's sort of mystery in this one. So I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm interested to see Jude Law's take on Dumbledore.
And then one more. Have you seen the YouTube video with the Harry Potter singing puppets?
Woo! Woo! No, I haven't. What's it called?
Harry Potter Puppet Pals.
Harry Potter and the Puppet Pals. Okay, sweet. I'll watch it.
Grown up on a movie set, kind of come of age on a set, is it something you would ever encourage or want your children to do?
Yeah, I think so. I think the beauty of those films is that we were so well looked after. Like it was such a big production, and I think because we were all children together in it, it made it like such a unique experience because we weren't just like a child actor amongst only adult actors. So the fact that we had one another made it sort of more normal. Yeah, I think I learned. I mean, I don't obviously know anything else. Like that's the childhood I had, so I don't know. But I felt like I was always as connected to growing up in my own way. I was always at school when I could be. I saw my education through in a way that because I wanted to, and I learned just so much during the process of those films. I think the time in which we made those films is slightly maybe different at the time now. I think, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have social media, we didn't have that kind of access to that kind of public kind of thing in the way that we are in now, and that's just like the way that things kind of progress and evolve. And I'm quite thankful that we didn't really have that during the filmmaking process, even though I'm very connected to that social media world now. I think I come at it from a place that can understand it a little bit more. So I think the time in which those films were made was quite a unique time. There were a lot less of those kind of movies being made, I think. But I would do it again. If I have children one day, I would put them through that 10 years again.
All right, thank you.
Hypothetically, say the BBC offers you the choice that they want you to direct, but you can only choose one, an episode of Doctor Who or an episode of Sherlock. Which would you rather choose and why? And maybe give us a little bit of how you imagine that might go.
What did I choose? Both of them are very dissimilar to the kind of stuff that I make, but I would say I would make Sherlock Holmes, which you're probably all going to hate me for saying, because you're probably all Doctor Who fans. But I would choose Sherlock Holmes. And what way would I make it? Oh, I don't know. What would I do with it? I would probably set the scene within the area and neighbourhood that I grew up in, which is in East London, in Shoreditch, in London, because I know it really well. And I would somehow I would make sure that there was some good female characters in it that weren't like a romantic thing. Woo! Like they were just there. Thank you.
If you had to choose, who was your least favorite character?
He who must not be named.
Okay, well, he took mine. But what's your least favorite book?
Oh, I don't have a least favorite book. Sorry, I don't have one. I like them all. No, I don't have a least favorite book.
Thank you.
Thanks, sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm probably bothering you. As a fellow performer, I know that your own worst critique or your biggest critique or whatever the saying is, are there any scenes that you kind of look back on watching that's like, oh goodness, why did I perform it like that, and how would you change it?
Oh yeah, all the time. We will tear our things and work up. I think it's important often to look back at your work and understand like what you would have done differently, but I don't think it's like that productive to like tear it apart, because it's just gonna kind of, I don't know, tear you down particular scenes. I kind of wish the epilogue we'd had a bit more, like the scene where we're all aged at the end of the film. I feel like I wish we'd had like a bit more. I know it was like a moment of a flash of like seeing them, but I feel like it would have been, we had so much rehearsal with our like family when we also to do with the casting process and getting really close to the 3 kids who played our children. So it was a shame not to be able to, I think, like sort of express more of that family. So I would have enjoyed to kind of do that a bit more and to have like really got into that. What else? God, so many things. I'm going to start tearing every scene apart in my head. I mean, I'm sure I would do every single thing differently, to be honest, you know what I mean? Like we all would in a way. I don't think I would say good luck any differently, my first line in the film. Because I think the way in which, I mean, I'm not even acting at that point. I was just like stunned, like what is this? What's happening? And it like lent itself perfectly to the character in that moment. Yeah. So that performance was pretty real.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So in an interview, Tom Felton revealed that he snuck food in his robes when you guys were filming. Did you in particular do anything like that, or can you reveal?
Sneak food into my costume. I don't remember doing that. No. I don't remember sneaking much around my costume. I don't know, eating in scenes is like my least favourite thing to do, which we all worked out. In the Great Hall, like you'd have feasts, and you know, if you do something in one take, you've got to do it every single take. So if you have like a big mouthful, or like 5 mouthfuls in a scene, you've got to do that like 60 times that day, so you can put 2 and 2 together. But so it was always quite funny watching people come on to the scenes at the Great Hall for the first time, just like ravenously eating anything, and you'd be like, oh, you messed up. It'd also be the art of like, how do I like get this singular grape like just as it's about to say cut. Although I remember when we had a Halloween scene and there was so much candy, all of us were like, ugh, so excited. But I didn't, so if I was ever sneaking food, I was probably sneaking food like out. I didn't want to know what happened. But I didn't sneak much into my costume. It was more like accidentally breaking ones because you put them in your pocket. So, yeah, we had wand pockets sewn into all our pockets, which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you wish Peeves was in the movie?
Yes. Right? All of, I know. There's so many things, especially Peeves. So good film. Yeah.
It would have been fun to see Fred and George.
Exactly, right? But there's so many things that all of us, when you break it down, that's why often, like, I feel like I need to reread the books. I haven't read them since, like, they came out, really, I don't think. I need to reread them every year. Yeah. Well, my favourite thing was I used to also listen to all of the Stephen Fry audiobooks. Yes. He read them so well. I'm sure there was an American, someone who read them here, but Stephen Fry's are the best. If you haven't listened to them, you should listen to him because he reads them so well. Thank you. Thanks.
If you had another house apart from Gryffindor, who would you choose?
Ooh, Slytherin.
Really?
Hands down, I'm gonna go to the other side.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What is your favorite book and your favorite movie, whether it's in the Harry Potter world or outside?
Okay, just open up the whole world. My favorite book I've read recently is Annihilation, but the movie, there was like recently a film made about it that was on Netflix that I loved, really unlike any other book I'd really read, very kind of bizarre and trippy and strange. And that's by Jeff Vandermeer. My favorite movie. One of my favorite movies is Children of Men. I love that one. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
What did you do to like chill on your own, or just did you vegetable, or?
We watched The Simpsons. That was my favorite TV show as a kid, and probably still is. Yeah, I don't know. I was always so lucky that I never relocated for the like filmings, in the sense that like my family home that I grew up in, I went home to every night because I grew up in London and we filmed the movies just outside of London. Whereas other people who like were all across the UK, who had to sort of come down, had a kind of much more maybe chaotic sort of experience of it. And so just coming home to my family was always the most grounding experience, I think. Yeah, Simpsons and Mum and Dad.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
My second question is, which of the Weasley brothers were your favorite? Both fictional and
I can answer that. I would say each to them that they were my favorite, and then I would say to the other that they were my favorite.
Was there a Weasley brother that reminded you of your own brother?
All of them collectively, in a way. I think they represent like exactly what brothers are. Like I loved having had an older brother. Really, definitely helped me to understand that. I mean, obviously, I didn't have that many. I don't think I would want that many brothers. That would be pretty intense. But I understood what that felt like to be the younger sister, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, these will be our last two questions.
Who was your best friend or friends on set?
Oh, I know that sounds like ridiculous because you can't really have like hundreds. Well, you can have hundreds of friends, but everyone. I mean, I guess for me, obviously, I spent the most time in terms of all the Weasley scenes. So, for James, Oliver, and Rupert, we spent a lot of time together. And I guess also towards the end, when there was like Dumbledore's army, and then there was us kind of like seven that sort of went through and kind of had these scenes that left Hogwarts a bit more, was Matt and Ivana, as well as Dan, Rupert, and Emma. Those kind of scenes that we had, I loved. They were all my favourite kind of moments. Different things that we went through to the Ministry of Magic and that kind of came out of Dumbledore's army. Yeah.
In my life. I want to ask a non-Harry Potter question.
Cool.
So I follow you on Instagram. I really like your posts. I was wondering, how did you get involved in environmental activism?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. I got involved with the work I do with Greenpeace through an article I wrote last year that was about trying to get UK supermarkets to have single-use, like plastic-free aisles in their supermarkets, to kind of show you how much plastic is in everything that we buy and how everything is packaged in plastics, as a kind of way to educate people and to sort of shift and phase out the use of them and try and use the other alternative materials. And I guess Greenpeace saw that article I wrote, and then that sort of began a relationship with them, and I went on a ship with them, one of their ships, the Arctic Sunrise, in November last year. during a time they were doing like a ship tour to raise awareness around all different sort of climate change issues. And yeah, I've been working with them ever since. I love the water. I spend a lot of time in the water. I live here in California, down in LA, and I spend a lot of time in it. And I just see, I personally feel that with the issue of plastics and why I'm so kind of passionate behind it is because I feel like it's something that we can actually individually like change and make choices to reflect our sort of care and love for marine animals and also ourselves. At the end of the day, it is all a chain and we are all connected, so the plastic that they're eating will soon end up into our kind of systems. So yeah, I feel like it's something that we can individually change. And I think a lot of other maybe causes and organizations I've worked with, even though I've been so strongly aligned to them and passionate about them, they felt very kind of far away and sometimes hard to kind of grasp or feel like you can be part of that change. Whereas this, whether it's as simple as kind of refusing a plastic straw or kind of deciding no longer to drink from plastic water bottles and refill your own bottle, it's like choices that are actually systemically going to change the situation we're in. So, and I honestly feel that like it's been really exciting through things like Instagram that, you know, like you have followed it yourself. Like I feel like a lot of people have been really, have just really got behind it, and I've just loved that people are learning as I'm learning too. So thank you for following that.
Yeah,
Thank you.